Hey, what's up guys? This is 3D Bonfire back with another amazing tutorial, and before we dive into this little particle session, let me just inform you that in January and probably also in February 2025, it will be all about beauty and cosmetic product rendering on my Patreon. So if this is something that is interesting for you, then just be sure to check out my Patreon. You can see I got already a lot of trust from the community and you can join for free. But if you want to see all of my tutorials, I suggest that you sign into the Knights membership, and also in January 2025 you can save 50% if you are a brand new member, so maybe this is something for you. And now just one short little disclaimer about this little particle session today. I got this knowledge here from Noseman in this live recording, so if you want to learn more about the particles and also what I'm teaching you today, you can more or less get it also here from Noseman. I just thought that this knowledge, especially with the color mapping, is so important that I wanted to create a separate YouTube lesson, and I hope I did vary the knowledge a little bit. But yeah, I just thought that this one is so important that I wanted to share it in a separate lesson. So I would say let's dive directly into the lesson. So maybe you want to control your particles emission or roughness or metalness with a custom property. Okay, so this is something that you can do now. So let's just call this one my emission. This one will be, let me see, this one should be a color parameter. And maybe we also want to create another property here for the metalness. Okay, and this one is also a color property. So let's set these ones up. And now let's just create some particles. So I would say, yeah, let's just create a basic emitter here. Let's keep this one really simple. I'll just make this one bigger for no special reason. Let's see how this one is looking. Okay, not really dramatic. Maybe you just want to go to the velocity, speed this one up just a bit, and maybe also give it some variation. We could also go here and, for example, kick out 1,000 particles just to have a little bit more going on in the scene. Come on, let's put in the turbulence. Okay, I also think that I want to set the lifetime here to maybe just 130. Okay, so they will die after 130 frames. Let me see this one. All right, there my particles disappear. This is looking good. So I would say next we just go up here, and now we want to control the color parameter of our particles. So let's just see, let's create a color mapper and let's set this one to age percentage. So I guess like this one needs to be 100. Let's just see. So now this gradient will be mapped along our particles. Let me just see this one. When I put this one to 10, all right, then you clamp it already here, or you just make it shorter that it will reach the end of your gradient. Of course, now this one has to be 100 to map the gradient beautifully along our particles. This is looking amazing. So now when I fire up Redshift, you can see the color is already in your particles, but it looks like that we have tiny particles here. So let me just see the radius. I want to put the radius maybe to 5. Let me see this once again. Okay, now these particles are bigger. You can clearly see them here also in Redshift. But now maybe we want to say, hey, these particles, they should glow towards the end. So how can we do that? We can create a new color mapper and set this one, for example, to a gradient between black and white, so that you control a value between 0 and 100, for example, or 0 and 1. We could also clamp this one just a little bit. So for example, we want to say that only these particles towards the end, then they should start to glow. So this one with an age percentage again makes sense. But now comes the special thing we want to do. We want to set this one to a custom parameter, and you can see you now can put in the my emission, for example. All right, this is looking good. So let's first work with this one. Therefore, we need to create a Redshift material, put the material, I always forget it. I think you need to put it onto the particle group, right? Okay, this is looking good. Let's go into the material and press C and search for, I think it's like custom color user data. Yes, this is the right node. Let's put this one into the mix, and I already know that I need the second one, so I press Control while dragging it downwards there. Let's go into this one, and you can see here are the new parameters that we can set up. First, we want to, of course, use the color that we already get from the color mapping here with the first one. Okay, so let's put this one into the color of your particles. There you go, we have the color back in our particles. But now you can, in addition, use, for example, this this black and white gradient with the second color user data. And of course, now you have to set this one to my emission, all right, to get this gradient. And I hope that now when I put this one into the weight of the emission, let's just see. I'm sorry, I think you have to set it into the color. Let's just see it like this. Okay, this seems to be a correct connection here. So when I would now put the emission to 1, hopefully these particles now will start to glow towards their end. Hopefully this one is working, and you can see that this is happening here. Of course, this is just a really ugly example, but this will open up a lot of possibilities what you could do with your particles and your shader, just to be very specific about controlling different parameters here. Of course, you can also set this one maybe to a blue tone. Let me see how this one is working. If now they will start to glow blue towards the end. Hopefully this is working. And yes, you can see this is definitely working. You can increase the strength here to something like that. But let's just see what else we can do here. So we could also duplicate this one and set this one to my metalness. And now, for example, do something like this one. And maybe, let me just think about it. Maybe you want to put in a noise. Okay. And then I guess like random particles now will get some strong metalness and some will get no metalness. So maybe we will make this one pretty clear that, yeah, like some particles in the noise will get full metalness and most of them will get no metalness. So let's just see how this one is working. And of course, this is not about making a beautiful result. I just want to show you the possibilities here. And let's just put this one to my metalness. And when I would now put this one, I guess, into the metalness here. And yes, you can see that depending on noise, now some of your particles will be metallic and the others will be not metallic. Okay, so yeah, this was just a short example that I learned last week from the Maxon live recordings. I think that this one is a very powerful technique that you should just remember. And it's pretty easy now to control different parameters in your shader. So I definitely like this new possibility to create these custom parameters. I always say parameters, I mean properties. So yes, this was like a short Sunday lesson. I just wanted to recap if I remember how to use this technique. Mission completed. Thank you so much for your time. See you in the next tutorial. Bye everyone.